So that was a fucking lie.
Okay, so this video is 5 weeks too late, so I think I'm just gonna get right into it. But if you're curious to why I didn't start posting about the show from week 1, it's not because I got lazy for once in my life, but it's because, number one, once I finished episode 1, I really didn't have much interesting things to say about it, and I was like, there is literally no point to me making a video on it unless I want to cash in for some, easy views and money. Then yeah, I can make a video. Like, why would I be opposed to that? But I really didn't feel like it. Okay, maybe then I was lazy, you could say. Anyways, another reason is because I was having my final exams for my first semester of grad school, so I really didn't want to risk doing badly, obviously, because I pay so much in tuition already. So I'm all caught up with the show. So we're going to be talking about Island 2 NA. And I'm really genuinely surprised that this installment is called NA. And I'm like, what does NA stand for? I thought I was like, not available? Is this season Island 2 not available? Like, I don't know the full abbreviation of it, but if you do, let me know. Okay, I would say Island 2 is basically a sequel to Island, the survival show that made N-, except it's still an Mnet survival show, and the difference is that instead of debuting a hype group, which they did last time, they're instead debuting a Teddy group. No, that's not it. A black label group, which is Teddy's label, which is interesting. So instead of a boy group, this time they're focusing on a girl group. And I will say that I much prefer the aesthetics and the concept for this season than I did for the first season, because I'm not gonna lie, the first season of Island, like the aesthetic, it was so gloomy. Like, I am so glad that they ditched the Hunger Games aesthetic for this season. You have Song Kang as the host, and I'm gonna be honest with you, he is practicing social distancing from everyone this show. So you know what? At least he's getting his bag. The contestants that vote for the girls are known as IMate. There are going to be a total of 24 contestants, and what's going to happen is that each week, for each round, 12 girls are going to go in Island, and 12 girls are going to go in Ground. Ground is like where you're on the verge of elimination, and you're not doing well, you're not going to get treated well. Whereas if you're in Island, that is good. You're going to get treated well, you're going to get pampered. I mean, on camera at least, and you have a greater chance of being debuted. We also get introduced to this Fox mascot character called Nasuri, and let's just say that Nasuri is giving Duolingo Bird a run for its money for how much it kind of terrifies me, but is still adorable. So the first performance that happens is Unforgiven by Le Seraphim, and the girls that take part in this performance are Ryu Sarang, Song Juwon, Kim Min-sol, Ji-won. So I would say out of the 4 girls, Sarang definitely stood out to me the most. I thought she definitely was the star of the performance, and she definitely got most of the screen time. But overall, I thought the performance was okay. It really didn't do much for me personally. Like, I just didn't care for it. Like, I felt like it was just okay personally. Like, this is just my opinion, obviously. So out of all the girls, Juwon, Min-sol, and Sarang got voted to be in Island. So there are 5 judges. 3 of the judges vote for you to go to Island, then you can go to Island. But only if 2 of them vote for you, or less than 3 vote for you, then you cannot make it to Island and you have to go to Ground. So that's what happened. So Juwon got 4 tickets, or like 4 votes. Min-sol got 4. Ryu Sarang got 5 out of 5. Like, you go, girl. Ji-won unfortunately got 2, so she's the first one to be sent to Ground. After that, you had the After Like by IVE performance. This one has Kim Gyuri, Fuko, Kim Chae-yoon, Kang Ji-won, and Park Ye-yoon. By the way, there are 2 Ji-wons in the show, so even I was confused at first, but you know what? We're gonna get through it. We're gonna get through it. So I would say out of all the girls, Gyuri definitely like stole the show for me. Like, oh my god, there is just a star-like quality to her. Like, I just could not keep my eyes off of her. Fuko was also absolutely breathtaking in the performance. I feel like Fuko and Gyuri like really embodied this concept to a T. And both the girls get 5 out of 5 tickets, which is well deserved. However, the other 3 girls, which are Chaeyeon, Ji-won, and Ye-yoon, unfortunately go to Ground. Chaeyeon getting 1 ticket, Ji-won getting 1 ticket, and Ye-yoon unfortunately not getting any tickets. One thing about Ye-yoon, which is interesting, is because there is a lot of focus on screen time that Ye-yoon has been getting. Like, she's been told in the first performance that she's like really pretty, but unfortunately that she's lacking a lot of talent. In the performance video, Ye-yoon actually did stand out to me. I was like, oh, I really like her. So maybe she improved during that time, and she's like still pretty new to the trainee scene, so maybe that's the reason why she's just not that good yet. But I think she's still doing her best to improve and whatnot. After that, you have the Sweet Venom, which was by N-, obviously, but the performance was done by Kim Soo-jung, Jung Se-bi, Ling Ling, and Oh Yuna. So Sujong is introduced as being like this dance machine, like she is that girl. Jung Sebi is also like another outstanding contestant. Ling Ling, to my surprise, gets not a lot of attention. In fact, she like gets more or less completely ignored, which I kind of found surprising in the sense that there has been so much hype surrounding Ling Ling before the show because she is Malaysian and everything. But yeah, Ling Ling and Yuna unfortunately ended up in ground, and I would say out of all of them, Sebi was my personal favorite. Like overall, the performance was decent because I do think overall it wasn't the best because some of the girls did sound out of breath, so that is it. But Sebi, oh my gosh, she has a star-like quality to her, like definitely, and so does. After that, you had Cake by ITZY, which I'm gonna be honest with you was one of my least favorite performances. It has Yuiko, Kim Eunche, Chesol, and Nana. So 3 of the girls, Yuko, Eunche, and Chesol, make it to Island, which I was just scratching my head thinking like, how did 3 out of 4 girls from this team make it into Island? But okay, you do you. Okay, I don't have much to say about this performance other than the fact that I really just didn't care for it. Like, it was just pretty forgetful to me. After that, you had the Baggy Jeans by NCT U performance, which has Yui, Coco, Nam, Yuju, which is like 3 people. Why did I say that? I don't know. Yeah, it's 3 people. But this was definitely my second favorite performance of the show. And honestly, it was once we got to this performance, I was like, finally a good performance, because I was getting bored. I was genuinely getting bored. Like, I wouldn't say the previous performance were bad per se, but it just didn't do anything for me personally. But this performance, like, okay, yeah, I get it. I see it. So I would say Yui and Coco were definitely really, really good. I would say my personal favorite out of the 3 was definitely Coco. Like, there is just something about her. There's something about her. And I was genuinely shocked at Yuju being sent to ground. Like, she only got 2 eye tickets, whereas Yui and Coco got 3. Honestly, a little shocked that Coco did not get 5. Like what? After that, you had the drama performance. This one had all the aces, I would say, in my opinion. Bang Jimin, Mai, Yoon Ji-yoon, and Chae Jang-un. And honestly, the moment Jimin started, I just knew that this performance was going to be a banger. Like, I just knew it. She was so fantastic. But honestly, I'm glad that Jimin alone wasn't carrying this performance, because I feel like all the girls did pretty fantastic. Mai definitely reminded me so much of Karina during this performance. Like, definitely her like visuals and the stage presence and charisma is definitely there. Yoon Ji-yoon's vocals were really, really good. Definitely reminded me more towards Ning Ning and Winter. And Chae Jung-un, oh my god, vocal powerhouse. And Jung-un got 5 out of 5 eye tickets, whereas Mai and Ji-yoon got 4. But all the girls from the team make it. I think they're the first team where all the members made it. Now we have 16 girls that made it to Island, but unfortunately 16 girls cannot be in Island. Only 12 can be in Island and 12 can be in ground. So 4 girls had to be voted by the 16 Island contestants to go to ground. Okay, so Eunche, Sol, Minsol, and Yuiko get the least votes out of all the girls, so they are the ones to be sent to ground. Okay, after that, we get to the second mission, which is the final love song mission. I cannot sing for shit. Okay, here's probably my most controversial opinion, probably in a really, really long time, and that is, I actually really like Final Love Song. Like, I've seen a lot of people dragging this song, saying it's unoriginal, that Teddy, like, blatantly, like, copied the Final Countdown, turned it in. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I agree wholeheartedly with all of those criticisms. Like, some people can disagree and say that, oh, he just sampled it, and it's not like he actually copied it, whatever. But I think the reason why people hated this is because of the lack of originality in, the song and everything. But you know what? I vibe with it. Like, I think the song is pretty fun. I'm not, like, blasting it all the time, but honestly, it's just a nice song. Like, it beats a lot of the survival show songs for me personally. Not a lot of them, but just some of them. And I also really like the choreography, too. I think it's really cool. I will say this song just reminds me of how much of a great song the Final Countdown actually is, And there's one of the girls who actually cries listening to the Final Love Song. Wow, somebody crying to a Teddy song was not on my 2024 bingo list. After that, for the Final Love Song Challenge, what will happen is that the Island girlies will have to get a really high score. So let's say they get a score, let's say in the 80 to 89 range, then more girls are going to be eliminated compared to the fact if they scored somewhere in the 90 to 94 range. So it's like the higher they score, the less number of girls from Island are going to be sent to ground. I can commend the fact that it makes the show different from other survival shows, But then again, I can still be like apprehensive to the fact that, yeah, this is like a little too cruel in my opinion. But then again, this is a survival show, so I don't know what else to say. Junghoon ends up being Island's leader, whereas Yuju ends up being ground leader. So both the teams from Island and ground, they have to perform Final Love Song. And I will say, like, this is not related, this is like not that relevant to the show's discourse and whatever, but there was a little ship forming between Jimin and Seogabi, and oh my god, they were so adorable together. I like really loved the friendship that formed between the two girls. And one thing I also noticed is that there were so many goddamn sponsorships in the episode. Like, it doesn't matter that I'm paying $5.99 a month for Vicky. Like, I'm getting still showered with ads, like in K-dramas and also on survival shows, because it's like, and I really hope that the girls are getting paid for pretending to like these products. So yeah, after that we focus more on Yuju leading the ground girls to learn Final Love Song and everything, and she's really getting the underdog edit, and I feel like they really want her in the final lineup, which honestly, I'm here for. Like, this girl, like, she is literally the true underdog. Like, she has been in a lot of survival shows in the past, and I can definitely see her making it. Then Yeyoon sprayed her ankle. And here's another unpopular opinion. Wow, I have two of those today. But I actually really like Yeyoon. Like, do I think she's ready to debut? No. But will I be mad if she debuts? Also no. And then the Final Love Song performance actually happened with the Island girlies, and I will say Jimin, she slayed. She slayed with 5 seconds. Like, she had 5 seconds and she knew she had to make an impact, and she did it. Jiyoon, I would say throughout the performance seemed really uncomfortable, which I really felt bad for her in those regards. And Junghoon, oh my god, she was so good. Like, obviously the vocals were definitely top tier. So out of all the girls, Yui got the lowest, which is a 75, and the highest was scored by Junghoon, which is a 96. So the overall team score is 84. So since they scored in that point bracket, 3 people are gonna get eliminated. And by eliminated, I got scared too. I was like, what? They're gonna straight up eliminate somebody from Island? No. They say eliminated, but what they mean is they're gonna demote the Island girlies to the ground place, and 3 girls from the ground, they're gonna go up to Island. So it's gonna be, that's gonna happen. So the top 3 scorers from the Final Love Song mission are Jimin, Jiwon, and Junghoon. And oh, here's another thing. Jiwon was chosen as like the center for the Final Love Song mission, and I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna be very, very brutally honest with you. I was really upset that she got chosen to be the center, because I was like, why her? Like, I just don't see it. Like, I just don't see it. But honestly, I feel like throughout the show, she's been proving me really wrong, and she's been like really, really good. So yeah, my apologies, Jiwon. My apologies. But however, since Junghoon got the highest score for the second time in a row, like, she gets to be the center for the Final Love Song performance video. Now the Islanders get to vote who gets to stay. The contestants with the lowest scores will go to the ground. So the girls with the lowest score end up being Fuko, Gyuri, and Jiyoon. They get the least amount of votes, and they are sent to ground, which literally made my blood boil. Like, honestly, I understand why Jiyoon got sent to ground, because not because she's like not skilled or talented or anything like that, because I feel like the members thought that she was not contributing enough from the editing aspect of it, at least. But Fuka and Gyuri not getting that many votes just really just, I don't know, set me ablaze, you could say. The ground team also did a pretty good job. Like, were they as good as Island? Obviously not, but they definitely did well. I feel like the performance wouldn't have come together if it was not for Yuju. I feel like it was the ground performance was there to make Yuju shine, which sounds really bad, but I feel like that's how the episode has been edited too. There have been, you know, like, it's been done to, you know, uplift Yuju and whatnot. So Yuju, Minsol, and Seoul, they're the ones who end up going to Island, and, you know, Fuko, Gyuri, and Jiyoon end up in ground. And oh my god, Jiyoon is absolutely pissed. Again, from the editing aspect, she is absolutely pissed. Like, oh my god, from the way it was edited, it's like she was cursing at all the girls who did not vote for her with her eyes. I was like, oh my god, she is pissed. She is pissed, and I'm like, oh my god, this girl is in danger. In danger from, you know, how people will perceive her. So 2 people next week in the next round will be eliminated from ground. When I say eliminated, I mean permanently eliminated from the show. So I was like, okay, finally we're getting some actual stakes. Then the round 3 happens, which is the seesaw game. And no, this is not the stuff you do in elementary school, unfortunately, which I would love to do, not gonna lie. But yeah, the seesaw game technically is where there are gonna be 2 teams in Island and 2 teams in ground, and like the 12 girls are going to be divided into 2 teams of 6 each, and one team is going to perform Whistle by Blackpink, and the other team is going to be performing Panorama. As for the ground teams, they're also going to be competing each other. So it's going to be divided into teams of 2 with 6 girls each. So the two groups are for Bad Boy by Red Velvet and Like Ooh Ah by Twice. And so what happens is, so the island teams are going to face off against each other, and whoever loses, all 6 of the girls, like from one team, the losing team, are going to end up in ground. Whereas in the ground section, whoever wins, they end up in island. Like, oh my god, I feel like that also makes the show interesting. Like, do I think this is fair at all? Absolutely not. This is like not fair at all. This is like some RU next level of what? But honestly, it's entertaining. It's entertaining. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna see how this goes and see what happens, obviously. Also, the producers, they tell the girls to pair up with each other, and after they pair up, being like, oh, I think we're gonna be partners, we're gonna do stuff together and whatnot, they tell the girls to separate, saying that, oh, you can pick a song, but you two cannot be in the same song together. So it's like had to like really compromise. Like, they're like best friends, but they like had to really compromise on who got to be on what team. Throughout the, I would say, behind the scenes segment of the performances, Yuri and Fuko, why did I write Yuko? Yuri and Fuku get the positive edits in the ground section of it all, whereas Ji-yoon on the other hand gets the negative edits. Like, oh my god, it's like I'm like, damn, this girl is gonna get eliminated soon. Like, the way they're editing her, like they're trying to make her the villain of the season. Like, what is going on? And of course there is more product placement. Like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you, these girls are very talented, but they're not good at acting. Like, I don't buy it. I don't buy it. After that, Song Kang continues social distancing and introduces the next performances and everything that's gonna happen. Okay, let's talk about the grand performances. So I would say Bad Boy performance was actually good, and I feel like the reason why the performance was good was because of Fuko. Was it like an exceptionally brilliantly talented show-stopping performance? No, but you know what, it was decent. I did enjoy it. I felt like the ground girlies definitely did a good job, and Fuko definitely shined. Like, she gave me Irene, she gave me joy, and she also gave me actual joy. So yeah, that definitely works out. However, Like Ooh Ah team on the other hand was an absolute mess during practice and also on stage. Like, Gyuri, she gets the most praise, but Gyuri wasn't enough to save the team from getting brutally criticized by the judges. Ji-yoon especially is like absolutely torn to shreds, and I don't know why they had to film her crying and breaking down. Like, they should have just left her alone, you know, going through something that vulnerable. I'd say that the Whistle team absolutely dominated in the stage presence department. Standouts of the performance were definitely Jimin, Yuju, Sarang, and Yui. Panorama, on the other hand, was a very polished performance, and I feel like in comparison, Panorama felt like a much more professional performance. Like, Sebi in particular, she shined the brightest. Like, oh my god, Wonyoung daughter right there. I was waiting for a week thinking like, oh my god, who's gonna win? Was it gonna be Panorama or Whistle? Like, I really went back and forth thinking who's gonna win, who's gonna lose, because I had no idea. But yeah, what happened is that Panorama ended up winning and Whistle lost. Yui got the highest in Whistle, and Sebi ended up getting the highest in Panorama. So I thought it was really unfair that even if Whistle lost, Yui and Jimin, all of them like ended up in ground. So that was just not nice. So now all of Whistle team went to ground and all of Bad Boy team went to island. And the two contestants that got eliminated are Eunchae and Yuiko. Two contestants I really don't think much about, don't get much screen time, so I really don't have much to say about it. Then I guess. After that, you have the unit mission, which is the round 4 mission. So there are gonna be 6 performances, and they're gonna be 2 units for vocal, 2 units for dance, and 2 units for creative. Island, they're gonna be performing Fine by Taeyeon, and for ground, they're gonna be performing Eyes, Nose, and Lips by Taeyoung, who is actually one of the judges. Island is going to be doing My Bag plus Eve Psyche and the Bluebeard's Wife, whereas ground are going to be performing Mic Drop and Sugarcoat by Nati. And honestly, I was so happy to see Nati's song being performed in a survival show. I was like, you go girl, you go girl. As for the creative unit, both ground and island will be performing the same song, which is Rain on Me by Lady Gaga. And after that, you have the Fine and Eyes, Nose, and Lips performances, the vocal performances. And honestly, I would say the Fine vocals, like the vocals were vocaling. Like, Junghoon and Fuko both did an absolutely fantastic job. Like, there's no denying that. But I feel like the issue I had with the performance is the fact that why were the girls smiling singing a song by Fine by Taeyong? Like, it's the type of song that you sing when you feel like your heart is being torn out of your body and you can't do anything about it. So I just don't understand why the girls were like smiling singing that song. Like, I get it, they're really young, they have not experienced heartbreak or anything like that. Like, that's pretty valid, but at the same time, it's like, I don't know, it's like the emotions did not match the song at all for me personally. Eyes, nose, lips on the performance, like, I was shocked. Like, I wouldn't say I was shocked, I was like pleasantly surprised, because I feel like Jiyoon has been really struggling to do well on stage. Like, she has the talent and the skill, but it's like a confidence issue and whatnot. But she did really, really well. Like, I was so impressed by her. Eyes, nose, lips. She became one of my picks for the show. But yeah, eyes, nose, lips. I went into this rooting for the Fine team, but left a fan of the eyes, nose, lips team. So I was like, yeah, eyes, nose, lips, they deserve to win. They won by 1 vote, which is interesting. So yeah. After that, you had the dance team, which is My Bag, Eve Psyche, Bluebird's Wife versus Mic Drop and Sugar Coat. I'd say My Bag and Eve Psyche were actually like good. I mean, I would say Juwon to me personally stood out the most. Like, she really embodied the performance and everything was really good. But I could not keep my eyes off Mic Drop and Sugarcoat performance. Like, that performance like really absolutely changed me. Like, Ryu Sarang, she got a lot of screen time and she absolutely dominated alongside her teammates. And Ground gets another win, which is like so well deserved. Like, 2 wins for Ground. Like, this is like, how did the producers not anticipate this happening when they dropped 6 girls from ILAND that deserve to be in ILAND all the way in Ground? Like, of course this is the result you're gonna get, because the Ground girlies are actually ILAND girlies and the ILAND girlies are actually Ground girlies. Yeah, after that you had the Rain on Me performance next, and first you had the ILAND, and honestly, out of all the girls, Ling Ling is the one that has been burnt into my brain. Like, oh my god, that is a performer. After that, you had the Ground Rain on Me performance, and this is the one that kept my attention from start to finish. Like, Yuju, when she started, like, she looks like she came straight out of a Pantene commercial, and Sujong's choreo is absolutely top tier, especially with the umbrella, and it is so silly, like, her getting criticisms for the dumbest things. Like, throughout the competition, I feel like Sujong, despite being how good, gets criticized for the dumbest thing, and I get it, it's important to improve and not, you know, like, regress and be stale, but at the same time, I feel like at times she does really well, does her best, and she still gets dunked on for no reason. Rain on Me is my personal favorite. Let me know if you like the ILAND version more or you like the Ground version more. But Ground version was my personal favorite in my opinion, and ILAND version won by 1 point. Like, I allegedly think that it might be rigged in the sense that the producers were panicking, thinking like, oh no, we cannot have all Ground teams win, because, you know, automatically all the girls from Ground are gonna go to ILAND and all the girls from ILAND are gonna go to Ground, and that's gonna be weird. So obviously we cannot have that. So that is the reason why I think they gave the win to the ILAND girls, despite the fact that I think Ground Rain on Me should have won. After that, it's getting decided which 6 girls from ILAND are gonna be sent to Ground. And then the producers start picking, and instead of having the members vote, this time they get the producers. So what happens is that 4 girls from Rain on Me ILAND are sent to Ground, while on the other hand, 2 girls from Rain on Me Ground, which lost, mind you, get sent to ILAND. Like, this alone, like, how is it that 4 girls of the entire team get sent to Ground and they're the team that won? Like, make it sense. But anyways, Sarang, Yui, Jimin, Yuju, Jiyoon, and Sujong are sent to ILAND, which is very well deserved, from Ground. Meanwhile, and honestly, it is absolutely so entertaining seeing Junghoon and Jiyoon reunited. Like, it is just, oh my god, there is so much tension in the air, and Mnet is milking it. They are milking it. As for the eliminated girlies, Jiwon and Nana get eliminated, and I was like, I actually felt bad for Nana. Like, I thought she would stick around for longer. Jiwon, I really don't have much thoughts about. So far, the girls that have been getting eliminated are the girls I really particularly don't get much screen time, and I particularly have not been that invested in. So it's kind of like that. And the next mission is going to be the songwriting mission, and that is all the challenges that have happened through episode 1 through 5, and I don't know if I will talk about episode 6 in the next video, or if I do have enough interesting stuff to say about it, I'll post about it. If not, I'll just talk like this, summarizing the challenge. So let me know what you guys prefer. Do you want the episode by episode in-depth breakdown, or do you just want me to summarize the interesting stuff that happens in the show? Honestly, I'm gonna be honest with you, overall, I'm actually really enjoying Island. Like, I feel like seeing the Ji-yoon redemption arc like really made me happy, because I feel like it made the show more interesting, that it did not go out of their way to completely villainize Ji-yoon and eliminate her. Like, I really thought they were going to eliminate Ji-yoon like really early on, but I'm glad they let her prove herself. But I also fear for Jung-hoon. Like, I feel like her downfall is coming, kind of like what happened to Chanel and RU next. Like, so there are perils there, here and there. But yeah, that is what you missed on Island. Yay! I'm gonna go and, I don't know, do something, I guess.